Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Sandor Lanch podcast. This week, we are talking about chapters 30 through 36 of Tress of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson, wherein Tress very cleverly manages to get everybody on board with her plan, only to realize that it's actually a really bad plan for her. So that's fortunate and unfortunate, but we'll get into it. I'm Data, and with me this week is
Joe.
Dak.
And Jamie.
So hang on to something, everybody. The Sandor Lanch is about to begin.
Daughter of the Dune, terror of the West, sail the coast of Ireland with O'Malley on her crest. Sailors on the blue, shaking in their cots, feeling the foreboding of the terror that she wrought. Up the hull and away we go, stop the galley and board. Whack the devil again to blow, we matter above the hold. Dance along on the borderline, speed us over the waves. Back to back on the borderlines, to never shut out of the aim. Run your way.
Before we get started, I was just going to mention that we are not able to get together for a record next week, but don't worry, y'all. I have a special episode prepared, which is we've got some guests, and we are talking about Dragonsteel Nexus, the stuff that happens at the convention, and some tips for if you want to try to go, that sort of thing. So tune in next time for that, and then we will continue the week after that with Tress. But for now, another 7 chapters that we did this week, and some interesting story beats, I think. What did you guys think of these 7 chapters?
Yeah, I think it's kind of funny. It's very funny. There's a lot of comedy here because Soleil comes in and then gets this idea in her head and then convinces everybody else of the same idea, and Tress is in this weird comedic predicament of having to be well, if I say I'm not the thing, you're gonna think I am the thing, and if I say I am the thing, then I'm gonna make you lose hope. So it's kind of a little pickle. And then we get some creepy stuff with some black spores, super interesting, but at the same time pretty creepy. And then we've got her kind of thinking she's one-upping the captain again, and then the captain one-ups her yet again, and so it's just kind of a sticky wicket for old Tress. So it's a lot of twists and turns. I'm having a lot of fun reading this book. It's a good read. We're a little over halfway now, so I'm excited to kind of see when we get to the falling action, and if this is our first secret project, so I don't know how Sandor Lanchy they are. So if they get real Sandor Lanchy at the end, if it gets real Sandor Lanchy at the end, that should be kind of fun and interesting as well.
Yeah, I guess you're right. This is the first secret project. We don't know how they might differ from other things that we've read, but he's definitely setting up for some interesting stuff towards the back end of the book. And I love you mentioning there are some twists and turns in here, and it does put Tress in a bad place where she's just like, is there even a way to convince these people I'm not what they think I am?
Yeah, she's kind of well, I don't know what to do.
Poor girl. And yeah, and she doesn't want to break their hearts either and make them think that they're doomed or whatever. So she's starting to like these folks.
Yeah, fun chapters. We're settling into a nice little rhythm with our people here. It's okay, people keep convincing themselves of one thing, and Tress tries to, de-convince them or disabuse them of that notion, and it doesn't quite work out, and it just actually makes them think that harder, which is funny. A lot of that I know that you know that both between her and the other crew members and between her and the captain. So it's just everyone's just trying to one up each other on these things. It's kind of funny. I do love the whole. It's I'm trying to protect the crew by making us sail the Crimson Sea. Okay, so, that's all fairly amusing. I gotta say, this section had one of those chapters where someone just said a single sentence and that just made me go, oh no, and just turned what I knew about the book so far on its head. And that's just as soon as the captain just goes, I'm talking about the rain, and I've just gone, oh shit, yeah, that will be a problem here. And then we got the whole explanation. It's on all the other seas it's actually okay, but the Crimson Sea, yeah, it's kind of fucked. So yeah, that was, I just remember reading that sentence and the pit just dropping out of my stomach, going, oh fuck. So kudos to Brandon for that one. That was a very expertly done little reveal that seems obvious in hindsight, but oh yeah, Okay. So yeah, fun chapters. We're just enjoying the ride. This is a fun book.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask, had any of you considered up until now, like, what happens if and when it rains on this planet, given what happens when water gets to these spores? I don't remember if it occurred to me to even ask the question before you get to that reveal.
Honestly, I'm kind of glad you didn't, because it made the impact of that sentence a lot more when it just hit me. It's like I should have asked that question, but I never did. And then as soon as they bring it up, you're just like, oh God, no.
It's definitely one of those things that I'm just like, I should have thought of that earlier. And I don't remember now. My first reactions to this book are on the Patreon, so patrons may know better than I do at this point. But did I even think to ask that before I got to that point in the book when I read it the first time? I don't recall. It seems like such an obvious question in hindsight.
Yeah.
I think for me it was like, well, I don't know anything about this world, so if they tell me they're spores, and it may not even be a thing in my head of like, well, maybe it doesn't rain, but they obviously have water, so I should have thought like, oh, if they have water, it must rain.
There's some sort of water cycle. Who knows exactly how it goes before they start telling us, but yeah.
Fun chapters. Still really liking this book. I do, now that Dax pointed out they don't know that we know that they know we know sort of situation. I do like that, and sort of that awkwardness of, I can't really tell you what you want without you thinking I'm confirming what you think you know about me. And it's a really difficult predicament to be in, because she's now got people who think she's an assassin. Some people think she's just an idiot. Like there's a there's a lot happening for poor Tress at the moment. I really liked where she got to use the spores, the midnight essence. I thought that was really quite cool, especially knowing like what we're doing with the other spores and how they react to the water. Like it was fun to see this one behaving a lot different, and also then like Tress in the rat sort of form, still having some of those. I don't know. I feel like some of her thoughts were very rat-like in that, which it was kind of funny. And the suspense in that, when she's coming back and the smoke's gonna go, and how good's Hank Puck, our friend MVP. I still really like him. Yeah, it's like it's a really cool ability to use the spore that way, but also, wow, you want to make sure you've got someone watching out for you. Really, that's pretty scary. And that chapter, the lover of tea chapter, where she has the discussion with Captain Crow, and it's just like, yeah, you are absolutely screwed. That was just really quite heartbreaking. I'm sure she'll find a way around it. Never thought to ask the question about rain. I think I was just like, oh, it rains spores. That makes sense. The oceans are made of spores. The spores fall down from the moons. Cool. Move on with my life. Hadn't really given it much more thought than that. But yeah, of course, rain. Just, I don't know that that's even ever been mentioned so far to even get us thinking about that. But that sounds horrifying wherever you go, and to just maybe have like, things just grow up out of the spores. Yeah, terrifying. So I am looking forward to seeing how they navigate this one. But also, I can't believe that everyone's sort of willing to go along with it, because surely the pirates all know. It's just,
right?
Yeah, I don't know. It feels weird that everyone else would agree to this. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, great story. I'm loving it. I think I'm coming to terms with, because I'm always looking for that real high stakes secret bad guy person, and I think I'm coming to terms with just enjoying the story. And it's taken me many books to get to this point, but I'm loving where it's going, and I'm just along for the ride, and it's fantastic.
I mean, we've got a lot of crew members who could be a secret bad guy, I guess. There's Dougs all over the place. There could be an evil Doug, I guess. Who
True.
knows?
That just makes me think of Doug from Up. Just the evil dog.
I have just met you, and I am the bad guy.
It made me think of Doug from the show Doug, which that would be different too. But
Doug funny, huh?
Yep. Doug unfunny because he's evil. No, that doesn't work.
Wow. Good job, champ.
I like what Jamie brought up, the use of the midnight spores, and it's like you gotta have a good friend with you. It's in hindsight, it was so dangerous that Tress had no idea how these worked and just used them and almost died in the process because she had no idea what the effect was going to be. So yeah, she's very lucky she has a rat friend that Hank is there.
Good guy, Hank.
Good guy, Hank.
Yep.
Yeah, would have been big trouble without. Is Hank the secret bad guy?
Surely not. Big Trouble in Little China.
He saved her life.
I
So
will rage flip a table.
if Hank dies, we riot. There you go. Yeah, just
I think I'd be more okay with him dying than if he turned out to be the bad guy.
Yeah. Not saying I want him to die.
No, but like if you got to choose,
Hank's gonna sacrifice himself.
jumps in front of something. No, it leaps in front of her. Yeah,
he'll do the heroic sacrifice and draw someone like into like maybe he draws Captain Crow into a situation she can't escape from where they're both gonna die, and like she just looks up and realizes like their impending doom is coming down, and he just goes like a rat in a trap.
I get it, because he's a rat.
Yeah.
Zing. Yep, there you go.
Man, you're on fire today, Dak.
I just want to point out as well, we listened to the audiobook for these chapters as well. Like we had a long drive, so we listened to the chapters audiobook style. And Michael Kramer came out swinging on the accents for the crew.
Yeah,
Like how so?
he Anne is Scottish. I don't know if they make a reference to that.
Ford sounds like Eeyore.
Like Eeyore?
Yeah, he was giving me serious Eeyore vibes. Like just that kind of monotone, like oh dear.
Well, because he doesn't talk. He like the computer does the talking for him.
No, I know,
guess
but it's
she's
just
a king's mask.
Yeah, it was very much like that. I liked it.
But like those two, I'm just like, oh, it's kind of cool and everything. And then Soleil starts speaking. I'm like, why is Michael Kramer doing an impression of the Black Panther?
Yeah.
Interesting. I was gonna say, I think it said that like Soleil and Fort are the same ethnicity or whatever. So I was like, I wonder if their voices sound similar. And then I remembered, oh right, Fort doesn't actually talk, so I guess it wouldn't.
He's got the magic iPad.
No,
the magic iPad,
which good for him. We also hear and tell in these chapters about how he uses sign language with some group too. So
that's right, yeah.
All right, well let's get into these chapters, y'all. I always like hearing about the audiobook. It's such a fun, like different dimension to these things.
Yeah, and like I've got to say, I've only listened to this week's chapters and last week's chapters. Ulam's voice. Oh my goodness, Michael Kramer is having the time of his life.
I forgot about Ulam. Yeah,
Ulam is something else. But yeah, if you do like an audiobook, this one is a lot of fun to listen to. But you do miss the pictures.
Yeah.
What does Ulam sound like?
Bad.
A very flamboyant butler.
Ah.
I reckon, Dak, you'd be able to do a good Michael Kramer does Ulam.
Go for it.
Hang on, let me just open the pages and see if I can find something.
Dig deep.
Where's the chapter with the Ulam stuff? Like, oh yeah, here we go. They can't be afraid of spores. That is always the trade. One reasonable boon a healing would count. It's like picture that the whole way through. That
sounds like hedonism bot.
Exactly.
Yep.
That is wild. Okay.
Yeah.
Imagine just like an actual character. It's like, oh, where did that fishy go?
That's basically what he's doing.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Zombie. Anyway.
Zombie. Slather me.
Oh gosh.
The real monster has 7 faces.
Oh boy.
Every once in a while I have to go out to like YouTube after we record and find clips from the audiobook just to get the idea of it, but that's great. Oh man. So we left off last time with Soleil being like, we need to talk about who you really are. And I feel like everybody was like, okay. Like we have no idea what Soleil thinks because we know who Tress really is. But we start out with Tress being like, actually, yeah, I'm kind of confused about that myself because like, I thought I knew who I was, but now I'm a pirate using spores. Like, All right.
Like, Tress, you're being interrogated. Have your existential crisis later.
Yeah, this is not the time. And like she gets to think for a few paragraphs, and Soleil, I guess, is just standing there and goes, "Well," I'm like, "Well, what? Like you're the one who said we need to talk." And even Soleil is nervous in the Sprouters room because of no Silver being around. Like spores are no joke. And Tress offers her, "Would you like some tea? It's delightfully lukewarm." And Soleil's like, no." And Tress is like, what do you want me to say? I already admitted I stole the coat. I'm just an insignificant girl from an insignificant island." And Soleil's like, so this unremarkable girl just happens to not be afraid of spores and just happens to be made Sprouter after a couple of days. And I feel like Tress has had to say this a lot, where she's like, "Well, I am afraid of spores. But I needed a job, and this was the one that was open."
This reminds me of The Man Who Knew Too Little a little bit. If you've ever seen that film, it's one of my favorite Bill Murray films. But it's it's just walking backwards into success over and over.
When it kind of is, yeah. When I was going on a jag of like watching people react to stuff, I was like, "Oh, I wonder if there's anyone out there who reacted to that." Nobody. It's an underrated Bill Murray movie for sure. Doesn't get a lot of attention. Maybe just because it's so silly, but. And Soleil's just like, "Man, you are good. I don't even see a hint of a tell that you're lying." He's like, "Because I'm not lying. What do you think I am?" And Soleil's like, "A royal inspector in disguise." And Tress is like, wait. Let me get this straight. "I'm disguised in a royal inspector's coat, but secretly I'm a royal inspector." And Soleil's like, "Yep, it's a clever plan, I'll admit."
Well, no one would expect you to be dressed as a royal inspector if you really were a royal inspector. So it's the perfect disguise if you were the real royal inspector.
It's so convoluted. I love it.
Mm.
And Soleil's like, "I would have never pieced it together if I hadn't discovered that Crow gave you the chance to flee the ship and then you didn't." And Tress is like, "Oh, that. No, I didn't want to abandon you guys. I'm not lying. I'm not an inspector." "Uh-huh. What about the cannonballs?" "Aha!" She's like, "Gotcha." And so she noticed, like, Soleil is no dummy, despite having invented this crazy story for herself. She saw Laggart's reaction when they did not sink the ship, and was like, "Oh, he was wanting to sink the ship." And who else had access to the cannonballs? Tress is the only one who's been in there. And Tress is like, crap. If she figured it out, I bet Laggart and the captain have also figured it out.
I mean, like, Soleil, she's not fully off the money, is she? Like, she's picked up some things and added them together correctly, and some things she's gone, you're almost right.
Yeah, she took 2 and 2, and it's not like Wayne. She didn't add 2 and 2 and get a pickle, but she added 2 and 2 and got like 5 instead of 4. Like she's on the right path. And as we find out later, Captain Crow does in fact know, but she says like, "Oh, Laggart's an idiot. He probably hasn't figured anything out." And so Tress tries to explain, like, "I found out the captain wanted to sink ships and make you guys dead runners, and it's like she wants you all to obey her unfailingly." And so he's like, "And so you're just a common girl, but you figured out this plot." And Tress is like, "Well, I mean, by accident." And Soleil goes, "Okay, well, do you have proof?" And Tress is like, "I mean, yeah, I got the cannonballs." Like, "Okay, I've organized a meeting with Anne and Fort. If you can bring one of those cannonballs, maybe we can actually do something." And then she's like, "Wait a second, you just manipulated me into telling you about our secret meeting. Damn, you're good."
It's like, no, you did that all on your own. But good try.
Like Tress, to manipulate you into telling her she would have had to know about the secret meeting, and then she wouldn't need you to tell her about the secret meeting. Like it's so weird.
Yeah, it's like Soleil had a secret that Tress didn't know about, and Soleil brought it up, but somehow Tress manipulated her.
Yeah, and it's like, is this the same woman who faced down the captain about, "Yeah, we're not killing people, and it's my job to decide when we go over"? It's like, wow, this is a real dichotomy here.
Yeah. She wants to believe in something really badly, it feels like.
Yep. It's just, I guess the best way to put it is like, when she is convinced that she's right, like no one, not the captain, not Tress, no one's going to disabuse her of what she thinks she believes.
Well, I mean, except she then instantly disabuses herself. She's like, "You're no royal inspector. I see how cold and unyielding you are." And Tress is like, "What?"
What are we talking about here?
That's like Tress even says, "That's what my face is. The expression of my face is telling you right now."
behind that fake fear and confusion that you're trying to distract me with.
It's like, I'm kind of offended here.
No, that's real fear and confusion. What are you talking about?
Like, you genuinely lost me the moment you walked in the door.
You're a king's mask. And everyone knows a king's mask has to lie when someone asks if they're a king's mask. So I get that, you can't confirm this, but at least come to the meeting.
You can't confirm nor deny it, but come to the meeting.
It's really a no-win, right?
Yeah.
There's nothing I can say here.
Yeah.
It's
It's a
also,
real
it's like-
Kobayashi Maru of
Yeah.
identifying
Yeah.
yourself.
Good reference.
But like, I really hope that I don't know how we would ever be in a position to find this out, but I really hope it turns out that King's masks just aren't a thing. It's a rumor that started, and some people choose to exploit it, and now some people believe it so much, and it's like, oh well, if they say they're a King's mask, then they can't be one because they're not allowed to do that. So of course people are going to pretend to be King's masks, and that just seems like a position that's ripe for exploitation by unsavory types. So it's
Certainly.
it's like gets back to the king. King's like, the fuck? I don't know. I don't have a group like that. And it's like, but he's denying it. They must exist.
Exactly. This is modern conspiracy theories all over. The more they deny it, the more certain I am that it exists.
Yes, must be, because they won't say it is.
And I love that after she leaves, Hank, he's like, so you're a king's mask, huh? You sure had me fooled. He's like, no, I'm joking. You probably don't even know what that is. He does, though. He's a world-wise rat. I almost said mouse. He's a rat. A group of secret assassins maintained by the king to carry out important missions, never more than 5 at a time. And Tress is like, but I'm an 18-year-old girl. Why would they? Well, the masks supposedly take youth potions to disguise their ages, but it's possible they don't actually exist, and the king just encourages rumors so people are scared of him.
It's like, or maybe they don't exist. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, either they exist or they don't. I don't know. It's one of them.
Yeah. I mean, there's only 2 states of being in this world, existing or non-existing. It's a real Schrodinger's mask.
And Hank is like, if I were you, I probably wouldn't even go to that meeting. Captain Crow was already suspicious of those guys. I think she's going to kill them. And just like, what? How do you know that? And he goes, oh, when I spied on them the other day, I caught some stuff about that. That was before the really juicy stuff I told you about.
I left that part out earlier.
I was like, that seems worth mentioning, but whatever.
Yeah. Well, it was hard for her to get the good information out of him to begin with, if I recall. He's kind of they were talking about stuff. Yeah,
he wanted her to play Laggart's part. Yeah.
It's like, I don't know what happened, though.
And then he tries to tell a story about a friend of his who tried to offer him cheese. And Tress is like, I think we need to stay focused, Hank. We need more information about the captain.
I like that. He's like, we don't even really like cheese that much.
Yeah. It's like, you people just don't understand.
It's racist to say we like cheese, is what I'm getting at.
Well, maybe. She's like, I'm just a girl with a fondness for cups. I don't know what to do here.
I love that.
And so she's going to use the midnight spores because that's her one resource now that people don't know about. And then there's like a tangent about the Regal-thon, which is a 40-mile race that they hold every year on the king's birthday.
That sounds terrible.
40 miles? What, do they just run in circles? Because there are some islands bigger than the rock, What, really? And so, but she is determined. She pulls out an eyedropper and puts some water on a couple of little spores, midnight spores, and it's time to go for it. And then we get a diversion as Hoyt explains to us what the Luhel bond is. It's like, you probably have no idea what that is. Don't feel bad. At this point in the story, I was trying to figure out how many different shades of orange I could wear at the same time, so we all have priorities.
Once again, the fuck is the problem with orange?
I know, right? It's Brandon and orange. So midnight spores form a bond to the person using them. Not like the Nahel bond, which I don't know if we've heard that term a couple of times in Stormlight. That's what the bond between a human and a spren is called, like that the Radiants make. It's the Nahel bond. So that's what he means here. It's like the Nahel bond trades in consciousness and anchoring to reality. The Luhel bond trades in physical matter, in this case, water. So I'm guessing this is the same sort of thing because when sand masters from White Sand make the sand do stuff, it drains them of water. So I'm guessing that that's a similar bond that they're making there.
Interesting.
The wet spores turn into a pile of goo and then into a little ball and then into a little rat looking thing. It says almost like a rat dipped in black paint. And the writing really gets kind of different here as we're experiencing kind of Tress's perspective from within the rat. And it likes shadows. It moves through the shadows. And it can slip underneath the door. It like turns into goo and slides under the door. There's many disturbing things I feel like about the midnight essence. But weirdly, it also seems to have kind of its own priorities. Like she has to keep fighting it. The weird rat thing wants to do like rat stuff, and she has to keep it on task.
Yeah, it's like it has some sentience of its own. Like it's weird.
Yeah. It's very weird, and which is why it's interesting, I guess. But yeah, Crow smells like rotten weeds and burning flesh, not like the other humans who smell of sweat and sweet flesh. Which that's not a good sign either. That the rat thing is like human flesh.
Yeah, gross.
Okay, yeah.
Give me the flesh. Wait, what?
But Tress sneaks it into Crow's room, and Crow is looking at a book. And then there's a sound, and she gets up and leaves. And Tress has the rat thing open the book and try to read the words. And the rat's like, dusty, dirty, boring, stupid, melty, inky words. What's good about those? But it is a book that has annotations in Crow's handwriting. A way to be rid of them finally? A way to banish the spores from my blood? And then we get a couple paragraphs from this book about... It's evident that ZCs has the power to cure any disease. And there's stuff from 2 different cases from 100 years apart. So they've been around a while. ZCs. Including Queen Beck the 15th was cured of her spore gestation. Remains the only person in thousands of years of recorded history to survive. ZCs was involved. So it doesn't say exactly what happened, but apparently ZCs cured or was involved in her being cured. So is it any wonder that Crow is interested in this?
Yeah. Cure all dragon. Sounds pretty cool.
And then another note. Secret meetings with Weave indicate there should be a way to find the proper location. Too bad he turned to blackmail. Ah, well, at least he showed some spine before I killed him. So it wasn't that he didn't want to be a pirate. He was trying to blackmail her with this knowledge he had, so she dropped him over the side.
I mean, okay, one, I get it. You don't want to be blackmailed. But, like, I don't know how big the Crimson Sea is, but Weave has the theory on how to actually find the dragon. So you got rid of him. Like, so what's your backup plan for finding him?
You know, just be awesome. Be Captain Crow.
I mean, maybe she got the information out of him.
Maybe New Spratter will just figure it out
somehow. Yeah.
Get lucky.
I mean, to be fair, Tress has shown to be pretty good at it so far, so maybe she will. But that seems short-sighted, is all I'm saying, on Crow's part.
Yeah. Well, I think we could probably trace a few of her moves to being kind of short-sighted, but.
Yep. You're not arguing that one.
Crow is not playing the long game because she does not have a long game at this point.
She's like, I don't care, whatever.
I got vines in my face.
Yeah. But of course, Tress is here like, what is ZCs? Like, I don't understand. And she finds another page where it's like, ZC's Refliel lives beneath the spores in a palace that somehow exists at the bottom of the Crimson Sea. He's lived there for at least 300 years. The person writing this book it's like a lot of people think it's a myth, but I've spoken to people and seen reasoning, and I'm pretty certain the dragon exists. Haven't been able to find him, but pretty sure he's there. ZC's the dragon is real. It's like, oh, okay, so the dragon.
Just a dragon that is magic, I guess, and can cure people.
It can somehow live on the bottom of one of the most dangerous spore seas.
Yeah, well, he's a dragon.
Which, I mean, I don't know what you guys thought when we heard that the Crimson Sea was like the realm of the dragon or whatever, but we've never gotten face to face with a dragon before, and it sounds like we might here, which is kind of cool. Well, I guess we met Frost one time, and we talked about him possibly being a dragon. And so now Tress understands. She thought before that maybe Crow got hoyed because she wanted to go to the sorceress. Apparently what she really wants is to go to the Crimson Sea and find the dragon. And Tress is like, how does one find the dragon? She'd heard he granted wishes, but everyone's heard that. Surely there must be more to it. But then the rat thing is like, nah, words suck. Words were splinters for the eyes. Stupid, useless, bloodless, saltless, flavorless, screamless words. No more. Like the
What?
screamless part. It, the rat thing really wants some screams, you know?
Yeah.
This is getting less interesting and more creepy.
Yeah.
Is this what Hank deals with on a regular basis? Is this his base and age? He's like, fuck that, I can talk. I don't need this.
I didn't think about it as being like a rat thing. I assumed that it was like a midnight spore thing. But yeah, what if the rats are just super bloodthirsty? That would be unexpected.
That's why Hank's like on the outs with his family. He's like, we're gonna murder everyone. He's like, hey, can we not?
Or we could not do that, you know?
Yeah, I mean, do we have to murder? Is that required?
It's
Is that
like
required reading?
It's like that boardroom meme where they're all making suggestions, and Hank's the guy's like, I mean, we could try not eating people, and they just throw them out the window. But she can't fight with the thing anymore. Crow is coming back. She hears it in the lock, the key in the lock, and then boosh, the rat thing bursts into black smoke, and she's back in her room. And Hank has used the silver knife. He's got it held awkwardly in his paws to cut the line that was coming out of her mouth. And she has become extremely dehydrated, to the point that it says after a bit, like, if she'd been this dehydrated, like, normally, she would be dead. But because it was magical, she manages to get water in her and come back from it. And so now we've got some information, though, and she's going to go to this meeting and maybe figure this stuff out. Hopefully, the others wouldn't be too angry at her when they found out she wasn't a king's mask. And then the chapter ends with, Tress, of course, underestimated the human mind's ability to believe whatever the hell it wants. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, the experience with Soleil should have really taught her that already.
For real. And Soleil, we cut to her making a very dramatic introduction of Tress as their liberator. And Tress is like, wait, what? She can't confirm it, of course, but I'm confident she is a king's mask. And Fort's over here like, I don't think so. And Anne is also like, I'm with Fort. Like, she's obviously a girl from some backwater island. And Soleil's like, oh, you guys have fallen for it. How many girls from backwater islands have you seen walk on the sea or cling outside a ship at sail? And Tress is like, I was desperate. I just did what I had to do to live. And Fort's over here like, it is weird that she immediately ended up as the ship's sprouter. And Soleil's like, right? She's not afraid of spores. And once again, Tress, I am very afraid of spores. Okay.
Why do people keep saying I'm not afraid of stores?
So
do I need to look more scared or something?
I guess so. Apparently her look is steel and cold heartlessness or whatever it was.
Yeah. I think you are confusing steel and heartlessness with cluelessness here. And confusion.
And as Soleil continues to try to convince them, Anne's like, wait a second. You're acting like that's a good thing, but we're pirates, so if she's a king's mask, she would kill us all. And Soleil's like, oh, but now the king will know, because she knows that we're not complicit in killing anybody. And now it's time to present the proof. And so she reveals, like, I took one of these in secret from Laggart's gunnery barrels. And they're like, oh, this is rigged to sink a ship instead of capturing it. Okay. How'd you get this without getting caught, Tress? And she's like, I mean, it's not hard. Nobody wants to go near the spore charges and stuff. But how did you even find them? I have experience with barrels and hidden compartments. And then Slay's just like, yeah. And Fort brings up, like, okay, but why? Like, what does the captain get from this? Killing people instead of looting them. We don't even get money out of that. Like, what's the point? And Tress says, okay, so I overheard her talking to Laggart about wanting to make you guys criminals and so that you would be loyal to her. And Fort's like, okay, hold on. How did you overhear this? They never talk about their secrets out in the open. And well, they were in her cabin. So you were able to spy on a conspiracy inside her cabin, huh? Yes.
It's like, that's completely normal. Don't think too much about that. It doesn't mean I'm a mask at all.
And Tress is like, okay, look, this is beside the point. I'm worried the captain's going to try to sink more ships. I think she wants to murder at least one more crew to make sure you're all on board. I mean, metaphorically on board, since you're already literally on board. But anyway. And Slay's like, I agree with the mask. Today was too close. It's like, really? Do you have to? And then they suggest, Fort's like, why don't we go to just persuade her to go to a different sea? And then there won't be so many innocents around for us to hurt. And Slay's like, yeah, we'd have to go to like the Crimson or the Midnight Sea, and there's no way she'd be willing to do that. And Tress is like, I think we might be able to talk her into going to the Crimson Sea, actually. And Anne's like, oh, no way. At least no normal crew member could persuade her. Tress is like, no, I think it'd be really easy, actually. Soleil, why don't you just suggest it? And Soleil's like, what? No way. The captain would never go along. She'd toss me overboard for sure. It's like, oh, jeez. She can't even reveal that she like secretly overheard more or spied on the captain some more. It'll just make it look worse. So she's like, okay, fine. I'll talk her into it. And they're just like, there's no way that we can take the captain out. As long as she has those spores in her, she'll be immune to anything that we can do. Which I feel like, is she immune to being thrown overboard and you just sailing away? Because, whatever, maybe.
Well, we don't know the extent of how it really works if they're like, if it's just defending her. Like, we saw the vines snatch a bullet out of midair. So, like, even if like, if they have the power to do that at that quick of a speed, maybe, yeah, you got 4 people grab her by the arms and legs. Maybe the vines will just sprout out and just knock them all back. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, fair point. They can react extremely fast.
Fast and with strength enough to stop a bullet in that velocity. So, yeah, we don't know the extent of what the vines can do in the course of defending her.
Fair. But Tress, knowing what the captain has planned to get rid of the spores, is like, pretend that she won't have those. That her powers will be negated in the near future by something completely unrelated to me. And they're just like staring at her. Like, yeah, okay. Not a mask, right. All right.
Caught in my own web of lies.
Or truths.
Yeah, caught in my own web of truths.
What a tangled web of truth I leave.
And I love Soleil's like, okay, I know, you can't confirm it. Yeah, you're totally not a king's mask, whatever. What if we just said it this way? If you happen to get a chance to talk to the king, you put in a good word for us, okay? And she's like, all right, deal. I'm like, all right, good enough. Oh, well, yeah, she's telling the truth, and
it never works out, Tress. just lie. Telling the truth never works out.
I guess she could have told them, I've got some midnight spores and spied on the captain that way. But yeah, that probably would have also looked suspicious and terrified them.
I use midnight spores would not really help with the whole I'm not afraid of spores thing.
Yeah, no.
Is there somebody in Stormlight Archive that's called the Truthless?
Yes, Seth was Truthless of Shinovar.
Yeah, Seth was. You gotta go like Seth. Tress, you gotta go Truthless. Go on Truthless.
Rock.
Swear off the truth. Yeah.
Yeah.
From now on, I only lie.
Lies and slander.
That's the Shalon path, I call it.
Ooh, that's true. We should call her Shalon Truthless.
So we cut to, this chapter is called The Liar. We cut to Tress going and finding the captain. And the captain's just like, why are you here? Like, seriously. Not like right here talking to me. Why are you on the ocean at all? And Tress starts out with a lie, trying to be like, well, I wanted to, see the world and stuff. And the captain doesn't exactly call her, but it's just like, yeah, people say that, but then you get out here and everything's basically the same. You only ever see like dockside bars and stuff, and those all are all identical. And Tress realizes that she can't come up with a good like lie for to get what she's wanting. So she decides to tell the truth. Someone I love was taken by the sorceress, and I'm going to her island to get him back. And the captain's like, the Midnight Sea, that you're really planning on going there? And Tress is like, I mean, I was hoping not to go alone, maybe find a ship with a crew that would take me there. And the captain's like, you, a straggly-haired washer girl from nowhere. Wow, yeah,
Rude.
I mean, why are you calling out her hair? I know it gets a little crazy, but it's not her fault.
Yeah, that's not nice, Crow. Not that Crow is nice.
No, not at all. And Tress like, I don't think that's fair. I've gotten this far. My mother always told me the hardest part of any task is getting yourself to start it. And Crow's like, as someone who's climbed several mountains, I can confidently say your mother is an idiot.
Your mother is an idiot. Well, it's like, whoa, hey, it's harsh.
I get the point that's being made there, and I understand what she's saying, but yeah, geez, say it in the most asshole-ish way possible.
I mean, look, why are we surprised? It's Crow, right?
Fair, yeah. And she's she tells Crow, like, I only really know the crew of one ship right now, so I was kind of hoping. And then Crow just like starts laughing in her face again. And Tress like, well, what if I found a way to pay you? Crow laughed so hard she started coughing.
Been there.
Ulam,
That's me watching like any episode of Impractical Jokers.
She laughed so much that Ulam even came up to see what was going on because he'd only heard her laugh one time before, and it was when a sailor managed to spear himself in the crotch with his own boarding hook. Which, to be fair, sounds somewhat hilarious.
Yeah.
Also sounds very painful.
Extremely painful. Yeah.
Horrifically painful.
And Crow's like, even if I wanted to go there, and even if you could pay me, the crew would never agree to it. And Tress is like, yeah, you're probably right. We'd have to ease them into it. Someplace a little less dangerous first. Like the Crimson Sea? Maybe we could talk them into going to the Crimson Sea? And the Crow's like, they would never agree to that. The crew is as cowardly as the king himself. And she tries, okay, well, what if I could get them to agree? Would you allow it? Very few ships sail the Crimson, so they must have the best loot on board. And then Hoyd pops in to note that logic actually makes absolutely no sense.
That's Hoyd popping in to go. It's like, I'm saying this before you readers can say this.
Yeah, right. And Crow's like, okay, fine. If you can persuade them, but they're not going to agree. They're not desperate enough yet. And Tress is sitting here like kind of patting herself on the back, like, look at me. I've played the captain like twice now. And then we get the story of the Tosher, which I will not recount, but it's a funny story with potatoes and
poo.
Cornbread and just
It's a whole thing. I was like, man, this is a story.
This is a fun little Hoyd story, I have to say. Also disturbing and gross, but
yes,
fun.
I mean, yeah.
And we don't get the point of it at first. Like it swings back around at the end of the chapter to let us know what's similar about this and the story that we're reading. But we get the story, and then Tress is going after Ulam, and it's like, hey, about those spores that I definitely didn't try. And then Ulam's like, hold on, let me examines her closely. Yes, I believe you are still alive. I mean, I'm talking to you and walking around, and he goes, that's not as concrete a set of evidences as you might assume, but fair. And she wants to know if the midnight spores leave a trace behind after the bond is broken, because she's worried Crow's going to walk in and see like black spores on her book and be like, wait a second. But no, it's fine. There's no evidence left, he says. And then she tells him, I just had a conversation with the captain. I feel like I got the better of her. And he goes, so you wisely assumed that maybe she was secretly manipulating you. What did you get her to do? She's like, sail us to the Crimson Sea. And Fort and Soleil and Anne, they're going to convince all the Dougs to get on board too. And he goes, no, yeah, I bet they could. They can be very persuasive. But why? And why do you want to make that happen? It's like, oh, right. So the captain wants to visit the dragon to get him to heal her. And Ulam knows the dragon's name. Like, oh, Zisi's? Like, she's going to bargain with him? Yeah, so I persuaded her to go to the Crimson, which is something she already wanted to do. Well, yeah. She's very proud of herself, and he keeps pointing out, like, you talked her into doing something she wanted to do, and you're proud of that.
Hey, I'm a genius. Back off.
You're really taking the water out of my spores there, buddy.
Yeah. That's a cool in-world little idiom you made there.
Thanks.
Or whatever.
I like that, yeah.
It's not right for my my idiom, sir. Idiom, yes. Thank you.
And she's like, but everyone's going to win, and the captain will get healed, and we won't have to sink more ships, and maybe once she's not dying anymore, she'll let everyone go. And Ulam's like, oh dear. Zisi's is a dragon. He doesn't, like, give you boons. He offers trades. And she's like, oh, so we're going to have to rob some ships first? No. Zisi's has no need for lucre, Tress, which is a word that I like. Lucre, you don't hear that often enough. What he requires is a particular kind of servant. In particular, in what way? Ones that are not afraid of spores. That's always the trade. One boon, I guess a healing would count, in exchange for one slave to work for him all their days. And now she's looking back on all the times that Crow and other people were like, you're really not afraid of spores, huh? And she's like, oh, crap.
Really makes you think how many of them already know she's not afraid of, well, assume that she's not afraid of spores and then know what Crow's planning.
Right? Yeah, who else might be in on this?
Mm.
So Crow is going to trade Tress to the dragon to get healed. Everything might work out for everyone else except for Tress. Well, and presumably Charlie, because she's not going to rescue him if she's a slave to the
Right.
dragon.
Poor Charlie.
And that's the end of part 4, which I really like that as an ending to part 4. It's like Tress was on a high, like, hey, I've succeeded at everything I was trying to do. And then, oh, crap. And these parts don't have names, which is kind of interesting. We've been going through Stormlight for so long that I got used to everything being named, essentially.
Yeah, he took a vacation on these because he wrote them so quick. He's just like, this is part 5.
And then
Although
we have the...
He did put chapter names on this, which only Stormlight has had up until this point. Elantris and
It's true.
Mistborn and Warbreaker didn't know that.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's true.
This next one is The Lover of Tea, which once again, I was like, oh man, come on, Uncle Iroh, right? But no.
The Lover of Tea is actually like the least Iroh-ish person in this book.
Yeah, fair point. And so Tress spends time now trying to figure out how to not get traded to the dragon.
Good, working plan. Don't want to get traded to the dragon.
Yeah. And she's like, I'm going to have to get off this ship. Like, I feel bad about abandoning all my friends on here to Crow, but, like, I don't want to go and be a slave to the dragon, so...
Fair.
Your friends at this point amount to a group who think you're a king's mask, and this one creepy guy who seems to grow extra body parts.
Yep. I mean, good friend to have if you ever need an extra body part, I guess.
I guess.
You have some kidney trouble, so you get one that makes your urine smell like lilacs. It's great.
Gross.
Ew.
So they land somewhere to pick up some supplies, and Tress is like, okay, I think I need to get out of here. But Crow seems to have anticipated this possibility, and while they are docked, she calls Tress, and Tress is going to hang out with her. And she gets in there, and Tress is like, oh, that's a nice cup you got there, Captain. It's my first official piece of plunder. I kept it from, like, the stuff that we took. And the captain tells her, you're going to stand here and have a conversation with me until they're done unloading. Do you like tea, girl? And Tress is like, yeah, I'm fond of it. Well, you probably love this. Zapriel tea from the Dromatori Islands. Expensive stuff, worth more than gold by weight. Notably, she did not offer Tress any of this.
Yeah. Didn't think that was going to happen.
Yeah, no, I wasn't.
Do you like tea? Me too, slurp.
And so, yeah, they talk about the life of a dead runner, frenzied bursts of opulence. But don't you feel more alive now? Now that you've joined us in killing, facing the chance to be killed? And Tress is like, I mean, I don't want to say it, but I kind of have noticed that, yeah, I'm not feeling timid and all that stuff anymore about right and wrong. This life is kind of exciting. But she says, plenty of ordinary people lead interesting lives too. You shouldn't be so callous about killing good people. And Crow's like, I'm no more callous than the moons. Why should I avoid killing good people? I follow the paths of the gods themselves by delivering death indiscriminately. Yeah, not full of herself or anything. And the captain reveals, like, yes, I know about the cannonballs. Laggard hasn't figured it out, but he has the intelligence of a walnut. There's only one person who could have swapped them. And she's like, no, don't worry, I'm not upset. That was an enterprising move. You'd make an excellent servant. I mean, sailor. If you could be properly controlled.
Way to bury the lead.
Yeah.
Sir, I mean, so dumb.
If anyone wasn't sure now of what her plan was,
right?
yeah, we are now.
Lets it slip right out there.
It's like, you make a delicious dragon treat. I mean, friend.
Oh, gosh. But yeah. And then she's like, you're really doing all this to rescue some guy? And she's like, well, also to protect the crew. And Captain laughs at her again, like, wait, protect them by persuading them to go to the Crimson. I worried that killing Weave would deprive me of my favorite source of amusement, but you have really taken his place. Do you even know
it sounded better in my head.
Do you even know what the Crimson Sea is like? And Tress is like, I know it's bad. Jeez. So, the spores are dangerous, but that's not what makes the sea more dangerous. These spores, in fact, like, make big spikes, is what we are told here. Which doesn't sound good. That's true.
Right.
But
I mean,
no,
it sounds a lot like the vines, except they don't grow, right? They're real pokey and spiky.
Yeah. It does sound similar to the vines, yeah. But no, what really makes it dangerous is the rain. And then Hoyd's like, oh, right, I haven't explained the rain yet. So, Apparently, weather patterns on this planet are extremely predictable. The rain moves around in the same place at the same time. And I feel like this is Hoyd poking fun at like the fandom who gets really into like the details of it, where it's like the meteorologically inclined among you might be wondering about the planet's weather patterns and water cycle. If you're one of those, you have my sympathy. It's never too late to develop a personality. Maybe go to a party.
Judgy much?
Yeah, burn fans of Brandon by Brandon vicariously through his character.
Wit is allowed to insult people. That's his job.
He's not
Yeah.
Wit here, though.
That's true.
He's allowed to insult fictional people.
Yeah, not me. I'm a reader.
I'm a real
Dang.
boy.
Rights.
I have
I have a right to throw this book on the ground and stomp on it, but I'm reading on my phone, so that would cause other
Yeah,
issues.
don't do that. Yeah.
If I want to do that, damn it, this book's too pretty for that.
Yeah, it's got nice art.
But the rain moves in small localized ribbons. So you just get ribbons of like rain flying around. And yeah, it does make, it drops water into the spores, makes the spores grow or whatever, but it's so predictable that you can avoid it. Avoid the danger. On the Crimson, it is not predictable. It is random. So getting through the Crimson
Sounds
Sea,
horrifying.
yeah, right. Getting through the Crimson Sea is just 100% luck. Maybe you avoid the rain, maybe you don't. Which really makes it sound like sailing, just staying in it to try to hunt down other ships is the worst possible idea because you're lengthening the amount of time you're spending in the randomness. But the Midnight Sea, the spores birth monsters that serve the sorceress. Rain can fall 20 leagues away from you and you'll still get swarmed by the monsters. So you can get lucky in the Crimson. In the Midnight Sea, you cannot go there without being attacked. At least we are getting information, which Tress did not have, so it's not hopeful information. But so Tress is starting to realize just how crazy this whole plan has been in our last chapter, The Explorer. And she feels like I'm going to die, and Charlie's not even ever going to know what happened to me. And if by some miracle he got free of the sorceress in the future, he would go home to the Rock and find I've been gone and I'm dead. Because if news about the ship she was on got out, it's sunk with all hands as far as anyone knows. So yeah, it's not, it's bad.
They're dead, Jim.
She just runs off and goes to her room and starts crying. And Hank's like, hey, what's wrong? Did someone do something to you? I'll get him back. I'll bite him on the toes. And she's like, the toes? Yeah, it's a very noble thing to attempt, as toes are the third most stinky part on a human body. But I'd do it for you.
Do we not also have a point in these chapters where Hoyd talks about sucking on his toes?
He did at some point talk about that,
Yeah.
yes.
There's
Too
a
much
lot
toe
of
talk is what we're
references.
getting at. Yeah.
Yeah.
This isn't a Quentin
Specifically-
Tarantino movie?
Specifically, toes in mouth references.
Yeah. Brandon, keep your fetishes to yourself. This is gross.
And so she explains everything to Hank. And she's like, I knew I was in over my head, but geez, why wouldn't I end up trapped on a ship captained by demons sailing straight towards my own doom? It's what I deserve. And then he bites her on the toe. He's like, I'm sorry, I did promise to bite the person responsible for your crying, so.
Sassy.
But then he is like, hey, you want to hear about, I went ashore and checked some stuff out. You want to hear about it? And she's just like, she shrugs. And he starts telling her the story of his trip ashore. He watched Fort haggle with people using sign language. There's a whole like deaf community on the island. And then there was a bell tower with a bunch of bells in it. And how cool was that? You pull on them and it makes all these sounds from all the bells. I doubt they'd let rats pull the ropes though, even if we could. Like he's like, I want to make the bells go. And she tries to tell him, like, once again, like, hey, you can go. It's okay. You don't have to stay with me. I am now doomed. And he's like, no, I can't go back to my island, Tress, because my home isn't there anymore. And it's like, does it seem like things were better when you were younger? Like, things made more sense? But maybe it was just because we didn't understand and other people were there protecting us from the problems. And then Hoyd has a whole thing. It's like, you can't taste a memory without tainting it with who you have become, which I feel is a very cool statement there. But that inspires me. We each make our own lore, our own legends every day. And Tress, all of Hank's talking seems to have helped her. she kind of starts pulling herself together, and she's like, I'm going to find a way to defend myself, to defeat Crow before she sells me to the dragon. And the chapter ends with, it was fortunate then that Tress's room contained 5 different varieties of the most dangerous substance on the planet, which we know she has green spores and blue and pink and the midnight, but that's only 4. I don't know that we know the 5th one. I don't recall. But yeah, that's the end of our chapters. We're going to do 7 more for next time. I haven't been reading the titles except for last time, but I will say there's one of these next chapters called The Chicken Keeper, which is once again a fun title. But yeah, we're reading chapters 37 through 43. For the listeners, we will have a week not reading the book where I'll have the special Dragonsteel Nexus episode, but week after that, 7 more chapters, 37 through 43. In the meantime, predicaments. Tress has got a new mission and got a new horrible fate to avoid. Where are we going? What's going to happen? What do you guys think?
Yeah, at this point, there's quite a few things obviously that could happen. I'm a little concerned for Tress, because now she might be dragon fodder. I think we're gonna get turned on our head again. Okay, I know I keep making predicaments of like things are gonna work out. And normally, in Brandon's books, like things get worse and worse and worse, and then there's kind of like a turn and then a Sander Lanchian falling action. But I just like, we don't know enough about this world, but I feel like most of us on the show have kind of like come to the idea of like things aren't as bad as all these people are describing them to be. And with how confused they are and how gullible they are about her being a king's mask, I think it's very possible that both the sorceress and the dragon aren't the evils that people think they are. Now, how this healing power works, that I don't know. But I think we're going to go to the Crimson Sea. I think we're going to meet the dragon because Hoyd said we're going to meet that Tress was going to meet the dragon. I don't think it's going to be like a smog type thing. I think it's going to be like, oh, this dragon's pretty cool. And if he's going to help Crow, I don't know, right? Because if the dragon's cool, he might be like, well, this Crow person sucks. I don't really want to help them. And so, maybe, just maybe, if the dragon has like magic healing powers, he might also have powers of being like, yeah, I can get you to the sorceress. So it might be, I just envision like Tress meeting the dragon. He and Hoyd stays behind with her, and then they go off to find sorceress together. That's kind of what I'm envisioning right now. But, all subject to change. There's a lot of stuff going on since this is a shorter book. A lot of twists and turns. So
a lot of strands in the old duder's head.
Sure. Just, special lady friend, man.
It would make sense. We find the dragon. If Tress is going to continue off to the midnight, I guess Hoyd kind of has to go because he's her source of information, although he hasn't been very informative so far. Will we figure out how to cure Hoyd's curse before we get there?
I feel like, if somebody's going to cure it, it's going to be Sorceress Lady. So that's what I'm guessing.
She put the curse on him and she's going to take it off?
He might have some contrition. It might be like, sorry, I was such a me. Can you like help me out?
Sorry, I was me. I know that's tough for some people.
I know some people hate me, so I apologize in advance for being me.
So does Crow get cured of hers?
I don't know. I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say it's not a happy ending for all. And Crow's not that great, so
you're like, I'm okay with her getting a sad ending.
Yeah, I'm okay. Alright with that.
That's fair. Yeah,
may not be very not kind of me, but you know what? I'm okay with it.
I mean, she kind of deserves it. Let's not
lie. Yeah. She's not great.
Karma.
Karma. Oh, I get it.
I was actually gonna go in a bit of a different direction since we brought up Hoyd and his healing. I'm like, I think old Tress is probably going to pull a double cross here. Rather than have Crow trade Tress to the dragon in exchange for healing Crow, Tress might trade Crow to the dragon in exchange for healing Hoyd, and then like break the curse on Hoyd. And maybe the dragon's like, all right, why not? This is fun, shits and giggles. So Hoyd gets his brain back. Crow gets left behind because it's like, you know who doesn't fear the spores? The woman with the spores already in her.
True.
So maybe they'll do that. Heal Hoyd, and then Hoyd's ready to like, all right, I'll take you to. I can take you to the sorceress. We're good. So yeah, we'll do that. And then right as they're leaving, Tress goes up to Crow and just and takes back that fancy ass cup she was drinking tea out of. I was like, that's mine now.
Yep, mine now. Okay, yeah. That's a clever idea. Does the dragon want, like, Crow has a very short shelf life at this point, we've learned. So, like, is that a negative towards becoming a servant?
We don't know the nature of. Was his name Shisil?
Zc's?
Zc's. Okay. We don't know the nature of his experiments. If his this might be, if he's performing experiments involving spores, then maybe he's like, oh, a spore eater. I haven't experimented on one of those before. That's actually really valuable to me. If he's
okay.
I don't know why the dragon's studying spores. Actually, that thought just completely baffles me. But
well, they're interesting. Why not?
But I don't know how dragons' really mind works.
Yeah.
But yeah, if he's interested in studying things about spores, like how often does he get a live spore eater that he can just like, I'm gonna stick this in a box and dissect it.
Okay, that is a little bit horrific, but as Joe says, we probably don't mind Crow having a bad ending.
Yeah, and as is consistent throughout this book, it seems to be like it's also whimsical and funny, and then all of a sudden there's some utter horrifying stuff going on, like just like in little beats here and there. So I'm like, yeah, okay, that fits.
I actually kind of love this. How do you see Tress turning the tables then, like to make it so she's the one making the trade?
That I have no idea.
Okay, fair.
I came up completely blank on that one. It's like, you know what, I'm missing a few steps on this plan, but I'll just get to the good shit.
I'm okay. I'm okay. Yeah, I love this idea. That could make for a very fun scene. Okay.
It did start honestly as like just Tress is going to take that cup out of Captain Crow's defeated fingers. I'm like, how do we get to that point? And then I remembered, oh, hang on, dragon heals people. There's someone else on the boat who could really use some healing, and that would help Tress a lot.
I love that it starts from the cup. Okay,
Yep.
I'm even more on board than before now.
Oh, as soon like that was like the first prediction I had as we're reading these chapters. As soon as I got to the Crows drinking out of this really nice cup, I'm like, Tress is having that.
Tress, it makes the moment where Tress is like, "That's a nice cup, Captain." A very different moment when it's like, "It's a nice cup you got there."
She's gonna go back, and as soon as she gets on board that ship, she's gonna have some of that nice fucking tea out of that cup.
Can you imagine?
I love this. Like, imagine that the other predicament comes true. She becomes the dread pirate Glorf, sailing the spore seas, and that's she sails up to your ship. And she's like, "Nice cup." Like that's the danger moment.
That's my cup now.
Your life or your cup.
You choose.
Please take the cup. Here you go.
You can have the cup. I don't even like this cup. My son made it for me.
Oh, harsh.
I mean, that didn't actually happen to me. If my son made me a cup, if my son made me a cup, I would keep it.
I don't even like this cup. My son made it.
I just thought that was funny.
Okay, it is.
I
funny.
mean, we're laughing.
Yeah,
you guys are making me feel self-conscious about it.
I'm trying to. I just like this conversation backflipped a few times, and I wasn't expecting it to.
Yeah, that's how we are on the Standard Lynch podcast.
Yeah,
come for the book, stay for the weird.
This is great. Okay, yeah. Solid predicament, Dak.
Thanks.
Come for the thick books. I'm going to amend that.
Yeah. It's important annotation there.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Dak. I was really proud of my prediction this week. I too believe Tress is going to figure out how to turn the tables on Captain Crow, and Captain Crow will end up being our dragon slave. Yeah, but I was thinking about it kind of in reverse. I think Tress will find a way to work around the curse. I think that she will be able to figure out how to break Hoyd's curse. Maybe Hoyd, being all witty and sometimes tricksterish, could help Tress with the flip around. And then, basically once they're through the Crimson Sea, I don't know, maybe the wish is to get out of Crimson Sea. Take Crow as your slave. And then that gets them to the sorceress. And sticking with my earlier prediction that the sorceress is not the big bad, is quite happy to team up. Charlie's back with them. They can go and sort out the real bad, which is the king and everything that's happening there. And at the end, Tress and Charlie will sail away drinking tea in what was Captain Crow's office out of that pretty cup. Yeah. And all the other pretty cups, they'll have like a shelf with all the cups, and they're just going to sail the world collecting cups. And they don't have to be
That's
dead
very
runners.
sweet. I love that.
Yeah. Everything will be happy and not for Crow.
Yay.
But everyone else is all good.
But not for Crow. Fair. Okay.
Charlie and Tress will get married. Huck will preside over the ceremony. It'll be great.
He's gonna, in Rat Society, he's ordained to preside over these things. So yeah.
Correct. So. Yeah. Who am I to question a talking rat?
Okay, so then I will extend a question to you. So the sorcerer is not so bad. The sorceress, rather. We've been saying that from the beginning, that people have predicted at various times sorceress is not going to be so bad. So
yes.
We find out in these chapters that going into the Midnight Sea is so dangerous because the spores turn into creatures and the sorceress controls all the creatures and then she attacks you with them. So does that, if the sorceress isn't so bad, do we think she doesn't actually have control of the creatures, or maybe the creatures just aren't as bad and she is in control of them?
Well, a lot of our pirates, a lot of the people turning to piracy are formerly from the employ of the king, right? And if the king is the bad, and then the king's ships are going in there and being attacked, well, like people are avoiding going through there now. So you've only got limited stories. Maybe the sorceress is kind of captive herself and is trying to like defend herself against all these people coming in to be horrible to her. And now you've got people who are kind of on the good side, so you just need someone to be able to get through it. Maybe.
Okay. No, that makes sense. Like, she has a right to defend herself from aggression from the king. Yeah. And
this aggression will not stand, man.
Well, and also Crow says like no one can get through the Midnight Sea without being attacked by the spores or what the creatures that are controlled by the sorceress. So then it's like, well, if no one gets through, then how does the story get out about that? So
exactly.
Yeah, I mean, she would literally have to not murder everyone, or else there would not be a story. Okay, yeah, okay. I'm really pulling for this. You guys have been from the beginning of the book, like maybe the sorceress won't be so bad. It'll be sad if we get there and it's like, oh no, she is so bad. We at least, like, Jamie, you had one episode where you're like, maybe Crow's not going to be so bad. Maybe she'll end up, and I feel like, do you feel like there's still any chance of us getting there?
I mean, look, I feel like if you could get rid of the spore thing, maybe she would be like turning better. We don't know Crow without this spore gestating in her. So was she always this way or not? We don't really know. How long has she been afflicted by this condition? Yeah, has she always been awful? I don't know. I don't know if she'll be good. At this point, if there was any character that I'd be willing to get rid of, it's her. I don't know that I'm still not completely on board, I think, with Anne not being in cahoots, but I think maybe I'm pulling away from that theory. I don't know. There was still like a bit there that I feel like the only way Crow could have known some of these things, but also I wasn't expecting her to be able to have like fine spores coming out of her face. So,
Fair.
Maybe she just knows things. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like after the group meeting that these guys see, if it was like a Stormlight archive series, like size series, I think we've got more time to be suspicious of the other characters. But I'm thinking maybe that's big epic saga brain thinking, and that maybe we just need to tone it down. But we were surprised in Warbreaker by who we thought were our friends and then turned out to be completely horrific people. So
True. Yep.
I don't know. It's really hard to say.
Okay. I think you actually bring up a good point in that we did not know her before the spores got in her. We honestly don't have all that good an idea of what effect the spores have on someone other than they can stop a bullet. So she might be a completely different person if you get the spores out of her. We have no idea.
A desperate person is dangerous.
Also true, you know.
I mean, she's, she may not have pulled it off, but she's like attempted mass murder a couple of times now. So
Yep.
yes, desperation might cause that. She might not have gone for that, but the circumstances are there.
Yeah, it makes it easier to understand the mass murder, maybe, but not more forgivable, probably.
Yeah, true.
Okay, well, fair enough. Let's move into, let's do a couple emails here, y'all, and then we can wrap up. We don't have any new patrons this week, so let me see here. This first one is called Finally Caught Up / Apple Deal, and it is from John. It says, "Hey, Sanderlanche crew. I started my Sanderson journey right around Christmas 2024. I had always heard great things about Sanderson's books and was looking to start something new, so I kind of spontaneously decided to jump in with the first Mistborn book. I was pretty hooked right away, but didn't know anyone else who had read them, so I didn't really have anyone else to talk about them with. Soon after, I started looking for podcast read-alongs of his books and fortuitously stumbled on your podcast. I've since been reading in the same order as you guys and have just finally caught up, finishing Oathbringer this week just as the last episode of the book was posted. I've really enjoyed listening along as I tried to catch up on the books and definitely appreciate the insight and perspective on some things that I missed on my first read-through, or on my read-through, rather. It's also been interesting hearing the last 5-ish years of y'all's lives compressed into a little over a year of listening time. Congratulations on all the babies." I guess that is true. I don't think about that much. You guys get to hear weird bits and pieces of our lives over a 5-year period.
Just speedrunning our life history in the background.
Yeah.
Speed.
Hope you're enjoying it, guys.
It's a wild ride.
He says, "My wife gave birth to our second child last year, so being able to read on my Kindle in dark mode while nap trapped or listening to the podcast while cleaning up endless toys at night has really helped during some of the more mundane parts of parenthood. Sorry for the rambling.
This is how I got into audiobooks. Yeah. If I could go back, I would probably do a Kindle, but I feel like I'm at that end of it now that I'm like, no, I'll just still listen. It's fine.
It is nice to have something to do while you're holding a baby so it doesn't scream. You know, it's like rocking, please stay asleep. Yeah, been there. Sorry for rambling. I did have a couple of potential Cosmere connection things I wanted to bring up, but I might save that for another email. I mostly just wanted to say thank you, keep up the good work. However, I wanted to get your thoughts on the recently announced deal Brandon made with Apple to develop the Mistborn movie and a Stormlight TV show. Personally, I'm pretty excited about it as I've been pretty impressed with Apple TV shows and think if anyone is going to do it right, it'll be them. Plus, Brandon has creative control, so I trust it's in good hands. Anyway, I'm excited to start reading Tress and finally get a little ahead of you guys. All the best from John. P.S. Suppose I need to start on Dungeon Crawler Carl now.
He answered it in the email, but I was like, that's going to be the real challenge. Can you stick with us or are you going to jump ahead? But it sounds like he's jumping ahead.
Going to keep going. Yep. It's okay. Our rate is not for everybody, for sure. We've talked about the TV movie thing a little bit before. I don't know. Do you guys have any thoughts on that you want to share?
I've honestly been trying to not see anything in case something's accidentally spoiled.
Yeah.
So I'm just I just try not to pay attention to anything Sanderson except for what we're reading at the time.
Fair.
I'm interested in what they come out with, but okay, the deal has been made, so now they've got to write scripts and do casting and do all this other stuff. So it's like,
right.
I mean, it's cool that it's all happening, but everything's a ways off yet. So
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, we've previously gotten to the point where Brandon was like, people were on set in Mistcloaks getting ready to do stuff, and then it fell apart. So yeah, I try not to get too.
Wow.
Try not to get too. Although Brandon seems to feel like this one feels different to him. That he's really excited about the vibe he's getting off of the Apple TV people. So that's good.
Yeah, that is good. Yeah. The only thing, Brandon, this is random, but it made me think of it since we're talking about tertiary stuff. The only thing I did pay attention to was I did back that Backer Kit storybook Hoyd thing.
Oh yeah, the Hoyd storybook. We've read most of those now. I think. Hold on. Hoyd storybook collection. Yeah, I was actually.
Wait, is that the same as the new Secret Project one, or
the Secret Project's also in there? Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Get another fancy looking book.
Yeah, we've seen The Girl Who Looked Up and the Wander Sale stories. So
Yeah.
those two,
I assume, which I won't read them until Data okays it if he looks at those storybooks. But I would assume maybe there's some besides the art, there's maybe a tidbit extra stuff in there.
Oh, could be. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I was just assuming that I would end up buying these things for y'all from the Patreon funds later on when we got to the point where we might read the new secret project or whatever.
It's fine. I like having if it's gonna look like the other ones, I like having them
fair.
the fancy set. I can spend my own money unless unless Patreon wants to reimburse me. That's fine too.
Yeah, we could probably do that if you want to do that. Anyway, we can get into that later. But yeah. That's what they have it. What they wanted to start for, so that we can help buy the books and things. So yeah, I've heard people concerned because right now Brandon is working on the script for Mistborn movie, and people are like, I mean, he doesn't have a history writing scripts. He's a novel guy, and so they're like, he has so much creative control that he might be like, no, I did a great job, and then we end up with a script that's not terrific.
I feel like that's some naysaying right there. I mean, I understand they're very different worlds, but surely over the years he's worked on stuff like this.
I know he's done several Mistborn scripts to try to pitch to people before. I don't know.
Right.
I've never read any of them, so I don't know if any of them are any good. But
yeah, I mean, we'll just wait and see. I guess see if they they have a script writer working, like as he said, he's writing it by himself, or is there an experienced screenwriter writing it with him?
I would have to assume that to greenlight it, they would have to buddy him with somebody.
As far as I know, he's working on it on his own right now, but that doesn't mean that
they could always edit it later.
Yeah, feedback from
anyone else
networks
looking at it.
and producers or whatever.
Yeah, and not edit it as in take it completely out of his hands, but just all right, we need to just sort this out or whatever. I don't know.
He feels like a person who can take feedback to me, but I don't know. I guess we'll find out. He's also going to be co-show running the Stormlight show theoretically, so he'll have somebody else show running with him. But once again, that's a very intensive job that he's never done before. So people are like, I mean, what if he is not good at that?
Yeah, and you think okay, so he's spending all this time working on those, all the people hanging out for, when's the next book? Not that that's really been a problem with Brandon in the past, but time working on that is time away from the books.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's what it is. Got to do what you got to do when opportunity knocks. You gotta try it out. But
for sure, yeah.
And let me preface this by saying this is a joke. I am making a joke right now. But in my head, I'm just imagining him trying to show run, and it's no, you're not saying my words right. Here, just let me do it. And then he plays all the parts, and it's the whole movie is just him in every part. Yeah, it'd be pretty awesome.
That would be hilarious.
I mean, I feel like worst case scenario, if he's bad at the job, then the show isn't that good and it goes away. And I'm not going to feel cheated out of anything except for the fact, my concern is more what Dak said. I'm I want him to write more books though and finish the Cosmere. So if we could do that, I'm fine.
I mean, he's a relatively young guy. I don't think there's a worry about that.
Yeah, and also this is the guy who in COVID, when he had a lot less appointments to do, wound up writing 4 books in a year. So you just know that he'll be the dude on set between whatever it is they're doing. He'll just turn to another computer or piece of paper, or whatever, and it's all right, let me just work on this next draft for this other book. And then then his desk turns back and he works on something from the show. Then he turns his chair back over here and is he's he seems he seems to spend all his free time just writing anyway, so I don't think there's much.
Yeah. What is a day inside that brain like?
Yeah.
It's just what is going on in there?
This is a fair question. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Those are some of the thoughts I've seen going around, so I was curious about y'all's takes on those. So, thank you, John, for your email. Let's do at least one more here. Let me see. That is Ryan sent an email with some details that Ryan, we will not be able to talk about this until Wind and Truth probably. So I just wanted to mention that yes, your email is here, and it is interesting. Some quotes from Brandon, but I cannot talk about that. Not for a good while yet. All right, let's see. What else? Oh, this one's interesting. We'll do this one. This one is from Matthias. It says, "Hey there, D squared, J squared. In your last episode of Tress, Joe asked about librarians and what they do. Well, you're in luck because I work in a library, though I'm not a librarian. It's a common misconception that everyone who works in a library is a librarian, but actually, to be considered a true librarian, you need a master's degree in library science, or MLS. Personally, that road is not for me. Instead, I'm a page, which means I shelve the library materials, rearrange furniture, straighten shelves, keep the building generally in order. Pages are the grunts that make sure the library can function on a day-to-day basis. They're like logistical janitors. Clerks are the facilitators of the library. They run the circulation desk, process materials into collection, repair damaged items, and generally ensure that once a librarian purchases an item, it gets to the hands of the patron. They do work that the librarians shouldn't be distracted by, but can do themselves if necessary. Librarians are responsible for maintaining the collection, either through acquiring new items or purging items that haven't circulated in a long time. They see what areas need building up and make decisions about what direction the library goes as a whole. They also run the reference desk, and they are basically human search engines capable of helping you find whatever you're looking for, both online and off. As for what happens in libraries nowadays, you can find a lot of things depending on the library size. You might find help with your taxes, resources for starting your own business, video games and consoles, screenings of movies or documentaries, lectures by interesting people, local history and genealogical resources, a library of things with cookware, board games, toys, musical instruments, artwork, and more mobile wireless internet devices. Yes, you could literally borrow access to the internet. Summer reading program for kids, teens, and adults, tutoring, a climate-controlled place to visit during the summer or winter, and my personal favorite, no expectation for you to spend money, though donations are welcome. Now, as for Hoyt's comment about a librarian's love life, all I can say is that libraries Libraries attract many different people from many different backgrounds. You're just as likely to find a librarian into gothic horror as you are to find one into sunshine and rainbows. So different strokes for different folks and all that. I wouldn't say it's an accurate statement. I also wouldn't say it's inaccurate either. Instead, consider this quote from Joe Goodwin. A truly great library contains something in it to offend everyone. Libraries are like books. You'll find a bit of everything in their ranks. Librarians are like books. You'll find a bit of everything in their ranks, from the wild to the mundane. In conclusion, use your library. It's your tax dollars at work, so make sure they don't go to waste. Bookishly yours, Matthias.
That's awesome. I really should look into our library more. The common thing that I see at our main library branch is just it's centralized in our downtown area, and we do have people who are unhoused that hang around in our downtown area, and so a lot of our library, at least the main branch, is taken up by unhomed people sitting on the internet on the computer. So that's mainly what I see. So it's nice to know, there's other stuff. If I should look into it, if our library lets people borrow music instruments, that'd be pretty sweet. I would like to check that out. Get it?
I haven't seen that. I've seen board games and all sorts of activities and stuff, especially for kids.
Yeah,
but, I haven't.
I think our libraries have a thing too that each branch is trying to specialize in something else. So it may just be not available at every branch of our library, and they're about to open a new branch pretty soon, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, libraries are cool, man. I know that my wife has taken advantage of you can get ebooks through your library membership, and so she reads stuff on her.
That is cool.
Yeah, she reads stuff on her phone, basically by checking it out.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of apps, but I've heard about Libby where you can connect to a library and borrow things. Yeah, it's very cool.
It's pretty neat.
But thank you for all the insider information on libraries, man. That was pretty sweet. We've got several more emails, but we will save them for later. If you'd like to send us an email, the address is thesanderlanch@gmail.com. Find us on Instagram and Facebook and Patreon, where you can still hear me talking about Isles of the Emberdark. I'm getting towards the end. I think, let's see, we've got about 6 or 7 more weeks before I am done with that. And then we'll move on to something else. The new novella from Taylor Realities is what I'm going to next. So check out the Patreon if you want to hear me reading things for the first time. And other content. Dak, I don't know if you've recorded anything about your RPG sessions yet, but
not yet.
That's something else we're looking at.
Some planning to very soon.
Cool. Remember, next week will not be the next chapters. We're going to have a special Dragonsteel Nexus episode So tune in for that if you have been, if you're interested in going, or if you just want to know about it. There's a lot of cool stuff that we talk through with our guests in that one. So check that one out. After that, the next one will be 7 chapters. That's chapters 37 through 43. So if you're following along, 2 weeks after this, we will be reading those. So it will help if you have read them also. I mean, I guess I can't make you. You can listen before you read. I feel like you're not getting the best experience out of it, but hey, you do you. So no chapters for next time. Music by Miracle of Sound. And Wasing to the Time of Next. Colo, P.S. Fasher. Crabs ahoy.
Queen of the pirates, she said sail